So I'm about to just drop a whole bomb, and you need a machine. Go pew 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 pew. I'm a PK. So my father's a minister.
Sir,
So
I never
so
knew this.
yeah,
And
I'm
then
a
no
PK.
wonder why when you were getting driven back, but that wasn't your father driving you back to the airport that
But
said
yeah,
Terrence is not gonna work out. Okay.
I'm a PK. So
This platform always attract the PKs. I don't know what's happening. Like there's so many that I'm like, and I find out in this moment, with the exception of like Edwin, who I knew, right?
yeah,
Obviously, was a PK. But I'm like, why you a PK?
yeah,
Your granddaddy a PK? Like what?
yep,
Yeah.
yep. But I'm just going back to that surrender. But I remember something my dad used to always, say. He used to always say, read Proverbs every day, every month. Every day, just pick a proverb and read it because you need to be wise for when tough times
Oh,
come.
that's rich.
Yeah, it was. It is. But you really have to surrender, and in that letting go, you gain so much freedom. There is freedom in Christ. And so
Come on.
it's not the stuffiness, the legalistic, I can't do things. It's the opposite. I mean, we have fun, we travel.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
even think you can imagine what it's gonna be until you're there.
Oh, I can't wait.
yeah, and it's because I used to have this mindset on all the things I couldn't do. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I can't go. It's none of that. But that's what the world
I want you to
wants you to believe. That's what the enemy wants
Absolutely.
you to believe because the enemy knows what God has put in you,
Yep.
what God has put in us. And
Uh-huh.
his job is to kill, steal, and
Still
destroy,
and
and
destroy.
to keep you from reaching your God filled potential.
Mhm.
And until you let go and realize that you're not in control, until you put God first, that putting God first is surrendering your will to his will. Putting
Yeah.
God first means come, hell or high water, I'm gonna trust you. When I don't know how a
Mm.
situation is gonna work out
Mhm.
in the natural, I trust that you already released the answer in the spiritual. And it's gonna
Come
manifest
on.
itself
Mhm.
in earth as it has already been released in heaven. That's a walk. It's a journey,
It's a journey.
but you
It's
have to
his
start.
timing. It's his timing.
But you have to start though. That's the problem. What the challenge for me was I working on my testimony. To me, that meant one day, this future state, I'm going to just magically decide, and I'm just gonna start, falling in line. And
And
nah, that's
no.
why I said it was like I was the. I always say I was the prodigal son, because I'm like, nah, give me my inheritance now. I'm about to go out. I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna do all these other things, and then I found myself, you know, in tattered clothes, eating, from the pig slop. I was like, hold up,
From the
this
troughs.
ain't it. Like, this ain't it. This is not it. Even my father's servants are eating better than me. Let me turn around and go back home.
Listen, that was y'all heard it from the cyber deacon right there. That was a whole word. A whole word. So I love that.
And the last thing I would say to the brothers, we have been empowered to lead. And that's not authoritative leadership. That is a leadership of submission to God.
Say more.
You can't lead if you aren't being led. I'm gonna say that again. You can't lead if you aren't being led, and that's being led by our Lord and Savior. So that's it. You
That's
you,
it.
you got to surrender.
Wow. That's a tall order for a lot of people because as you're saying it, it doesn't make sense. But if you know the word, it makes sense, right? And that it's not, it's, there's so much that's beyond our understanding. His ways are not our ways, but he's
Mhm.
like, try me and see.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Mess around and find out about the goodness of God. It's
That's
here and it's
right.
waiting for you. Yeah,
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yep. It didn't make
absolutely.
sense for God to leave heaven and to come walk among us for 33 years to wash the feet of his disciples, to die a sinner's death, but he
Makes
did.
sense.
It makes
And
sense.
did. None of it. None of it. This is so good. So there was a story, Ayana, when you were on
Mhm.
before with the episode and you were
Mhm.
saying Terrence needs to tell the story. The first time, one of the times he looked over and you saw her writing her check back when people still wrote checks, because we know the cyber deacon will tell you do not write a check. Okay.
It's funny that you remember that. I forgot about that.
I did not. I've been waiting on this day. I told you I was
All
like,
right.
y'all gotta come on.
Well,
So
he got to
Terrence,
tell the story. It's his story to tell.
so just a little
So
back, I'll rewind a little bit from Ayana's episode. I think it was one of your This was your closing to the signature question. If you want to
Mm.
see a real change in your life, you said give, but you went on to talk about how Terrence saw you giving and he was like,
Yes.
what? So, by all means, Terrence, tell us the story.
So it was, at church and it was
Mm.
giving time, collection time. And I'm sitting next to her and, she's writing out a check. I'm not trying to, be all up in her mix over there. I was like, "Well, she must be like, what is this like, for the whole month? Or like what is this that she's writing check? I got my $20 bill and I'm about to ask for change. She's like, can I get some change? Somebody bring me some change. So this was before we were married.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, huh, okay. And I was wrestling with that. And she was, God loves a cheerful giver. She was cheerfully writing out that check and put it in there. And I'm just like, and I didn't tell her about this. This was later,
This
but
was later. Yeah.
that left such an impression on me. I didn't ask for change for my $20 bill, but again, it was just God speaking to me in these little moments where these teachable moments. And I'm just like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
And just looking at, her life and she had a house. She was taking trips. She was traveling and she was writing nice checks. And I'm just like, okay.
So,
So
what point did
that
you
taught me a lot
realize
about
she
giving.
was what barista?
That part.
That came, I think, a little bit later when she actually,
I don't remember it, but I guess it somehow just came up that like, oh yeah, I'm in human resources. And
Hmm.
again, he had my card, but he didn't really pay attention to what
Girl,
the
that
card
card was
said.
gone. Once your number was in that phone, it was in a
Yeah,
drawer somewhere, never to be
exactly.
seen until he moved.
I
Right.
think it was one of the times though, because when we would be hanging out, because it would be, she and I, then sometimes it would be some of my friends and, their dates and stuff. So we would be close to a Starbucks. And I remember this one time we actually went into a Starbucks
Mhm.
and she knew like everybody that was in there. And they were just like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And she got us all drinks and stuff for free. And then she was like,
Count it wasn't free.
discount free. But then she was like,
They
let me get
didn't
my
pay.
mark out and a coffee. And I was just like, hold up. Are you a manager? Or, I mean, this your store? And then I think that was when she kind of was like, what she actually did. And I was like,
So he may have been
okay,
telling all his friends.
okay. So,
Nothing wrong with baristas.
and that's how she got the nickname Starbucks because we'd be all out and they'd be like, oh man, we going to Starbucks? We had the plug. She was the plug.
The plug now, right?
She
Oh
was
my
the plug.
goodness. They
She was the
loved
plug.
when you were around, like, yes,
Oh yeah, I
Starbucks.
wasn't even drinking coffee
And
like that,
that's,
man. I didn't even know
but
what a
that's when
caramel macchiato was.
listen, that my first Starbucks drink, and they need to bring this back. The
Mm.
chocolate brownie frappuccino.
Oh,
It
I think I
actually had
remember
the
that.
brownie. Shamika put
The
me on
brownie,
to that because I was like,
the
I
brownie
don't
cups.
do
Yes,
coffee. That thing changed my life. Like, just give me a
yes.
spoon. I didn't even need a straw for it.
There
Like,
you go.
They never had
yes,
one
I
of
still remember.
I think I remember that drink.
It's gone. They need to bring it
Mhm.
back. Who do I need to talk
Yeah.
to?
Anymore.
I know, but I know you know people too. I can talk to Tara. Tara worked at
There you go.
Starbucks. Why am I
There you
tripping?
go.
But okay, so that's an example of like character and things like that. So, what were some of
Mhm.
those values, characters, and vision that showed up early in your relationship that were also like green flags to keep going?
Green flags to keep going. Again, the kindness, the sense of humor. He always made me laugh. Always had my best interest at heart. Quintessential. Let me open the door. Oh, it's raining. Let me get the umbrella. So the kind of like the basic things like that. But just when you talk to somebody all the time, you hear what comes across. You hear their morals. You hear their values. You hear what they appreciate. You hear what they like, what they dislike, and you can tell when those things align. Right. And so there was never anything that he said that I was like, that's awful. And even that long ago, because of course, now that we're older, like 20 years later, it's really easy in this level of maturity and experience to look back and be more discerning. Right. But the
Hmm.
level of discernment that we have now was much, much different back then. And so even back then, not having that level of discernment, it was still easy. It was still like, oh, okay, he's not crazy, or he's not disrespectful to women. He doesn't
Yeah.
cuss out the waiter if something's wrong with his food, things like that.
Mhm.
That old adage of when people show you who they are, believe them, that is
Yep.
so true. That is so true. And I think as women, when we're dating, especially when we're younger, I just think a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, right? So no way am I judging. We put up with a lot of stuff. We put up with
Indeed.
a lot of rudeness. We put up with disrespect. We put up with the little side jokes and the little cracks. And I will give it to the women of today. I guess they're probably like Gen Z that's dating now. They don't play that. They
At
will
all.
cut these guys off at the knees in a heartbeat.
Block. They
And
gonna
it
block.
exactly. And it might seem harsh, but as an older woman now, looking back from when I was dating, I was scared to do that. I was scared
That's
to say
such
something, right? I don't want to mess this thing up. He's cool. Oh, he cracked that little joke. They don't do that. Girls don't do that anymore. And I'm
that's a
really, really
separate
glad
pod
that they don't.
that's a separate pod episode right there.
Exactly. It is. It is. I'm really glad they don't. And so I was fortunate that when we were dating, there were a bunch of green flags because green flag, red flag wasn't even a thing when we
Right.
were dating. Like, we didn't use that terminology, right? It was there. It just wasn't
Mm,
called that. And so I
and
was just
also,
fortunate.
there was a higher tolerance for red flags.
There was a much higher tolerance. There was a higher tolerance. That's a really good way to frame that. And so,
Mhm.
I just think my relationship with God at that time, what God was doing with him and working on him, it just really aligned. And those red flags weren't there. Like that, I was able to really see his true character. We spent a lot of time getting to know each other. We spent premarital counseling, talking about everything. And I would just say, it's out there. It's out there for
Yeah.
everybody. We are not
Yep.
special. We are not unicorns. We're not just little brown girl from Detroit. Like we're just us. And so it's capable and potential and can happen for anyone. I do believe that.
I hear you. Like, you're not unicorns, but it requires obedience.
Absolutely.
And that's what I hear clearly in both of your stories. The
Yeah.
Yes.
obedience that was there and listening to
Yeah.
God
Yes.
and following
Yeah.
through on it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think what comes out of that too in that obedience is you're able to be your true self. I'm paying for drinks out of kindness. I'm being a friend to you during this difficult time. I'm going to church because I want to and not trying to drag you along or impress you. I'm tithing because I know it's the right. I was just me. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
beautiful.
I think women nowadays are in a much better space than 20 years ago when I was dating, where we can
Mhm.
be ourselves and have the confidence to know God is going to give us who we're supposed to have. God is going to put the people in our path that are supposed to be in our lives, be it in a relationship, be it a friendship, be of a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Get comfortable in who you are. Be who you are. Be kind, be outgoing, be a nerd, be, if you love to dance, like just be you. Because I
Yeah.
was just me. And even despite his whole situation, we were still together. We still ended
Yeah.
up together. Right. And I never sacrificed my obedience to be with him. I never stopped going on Wednesday night to Bible study so I could go hang out with him on Wednesday night. Right. Own who you are. Draw a hard line in the sand. Don't be afraid to do that because those are your boundaries. And if you give up something simple, you'll give up something major in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all that's such so many nuggets in there. Really and truly. And what I also love about this story is that you were able to be you. And it was a safe
For
space to
sure.
be you because
Absolutely.
there would have been other men who maybe would have tried to take advantage of the fact that you were kind, you would pay, you were
Yeah.
generous with
Yeah.
your time, you were
Yeah.
supportive, and just would have been stringing you along for however long, right? And
Exactly.
then get on their feet, pew, and
Yeah.
be on their way. So I love, Terrence, that you were a stand-up guy even though you were in transition.
But one of the things piggybacking on what she just said, I could be Terrence with her. And that was different. I didn't have to be Big T. And we say that, but we probably say, code switching nowadays, but I guess we were club switching back then. But we had these personas. I'll put it on me. My club persona was different than my corporate persona and than
Okay.
my maybe social persona. So yeah, I was Big T. when I was out in the clubs, partying, hanging out, we got tables and sections doing all these things. I was Big T. She didn't care about it. She didn't care about none of that. She didn't care about Big T. She didn't care about you, sections, something else. She invested in who Terrence was. She wanted to know
Yeah.
Terrence. And it goes back to, some of the relationships that I was in prior to her. They honestly didn't really care about Terrence as the person. They cared about Big T and, well, this promoter, can you get me in here? Or you got season tickets to this, let me hang out with you or do this. So it was almost, the quid pro quo, this for that. So, I look good on your arm if you get me. So she actually cared about who I was as a person. So, and funny story, this didn't come up. So she was enamored over the fact that I was infatuated, the fact that she actually owned slacks. So it's a story behind that. Yes, slacks, pants, slacks. So we went out. She came, I think, to my house one day after work.
Yeah.
And she had on slacks. And I was like, you own like slacks, like pants.
Terrence, who were you
Yeah.
dating before?
Yeah.
What did their closets look like?
That's what I am.
There were no slacks.
Clearly.
No slacks. There were no slacks.
He's been enamored with my slacks ever
So,
since.
and it was weird, but it was just like, I was like, wow, you actually like, okay,
Like I used to be
slacks.
the boot.
So I know it sounds weird now, but yeah, had to been
Hey,
around back in the
it
day.
works for y'all. It
There
works
you
for
go.
y'all. I mean, I
Yep.
had a similar moment when I was first came out here. It was still dream. It wasn't love yet. And I was like, the men got on suits and hard bottom shoes. Yes. Like, yes.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
I
I
can
get it.
relate to
I
a
get it.
slack
He had on the
moment.
suit when I met him.
Yes.
I get it.
Okay. Still like a man in a good
There you
suit.
go. There you go.
Sorry, we went off task. But if y'all know anybody, you know what I'm saying.
Gotta have a suit on though.
Were you gonna say something else, Terrence?
No, that was the slacks.
Okay, this is so good, right? And this could be like more of a closing question, but it's not because I feel like I'm experiencing it. I'm feeling it. If you had to like name or describe the secret sauce for y'all's marriage, like what would it be?
Mm.
Or how
I
would
would
it be described?
say, yeah, I would say that the secret sauce is that we really choose to love one another every day. And I don't mean in a superficial, oh, I love you, oh, I love you too. Like we do that, but it's choosing every day to be accountable. Even when we argue, even when we fight, it's not cruel. It's not calling each other out of names, a disagreement, but we know we're going to come back together. It's just choosing every day to do the right thing in this relationship. It's choosing every single time to be accountable, to show up, to be present, to just love. When 1 Corinthians 13 talks about love keeps no record of wrongs, love is
Come on.
patient, love is like that's exactly what it is. But
Yeah.
it's a choice, right? It's the choice to show up every day for each other. It's the choice to get up every morning and make sure if he and Ava, our daughter, have to get, she goes to school every day. It's a choice for me to get up and make sure they got food. It's a choice to make sure that I go out and, do the best I can for my family. It's just a choice. And I think that's really the secret sauce. Like, it seems like that should be obvious, but we all know examples and have examples of people who aren't accountable to one another,
Right.
people who don't argue right, people who, just choose not to be there. Like get into arguments and then you wake up in the morning, one of them is out the house for 6 hours. It's choosing to love one another. It's a choice.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Y'all better listen. I hope y'all got y'all pens and paper. Hit rewind if you need to, because that was good. For real.
I would say it's really all of that, but really making sure God remains the center of our relationship and putting him first.
Yes.
And as we talked about the headship, it's always making sure I'm doing what God wants me to do by taking care of my family. That means I'm not first. I'm last. My wife, my daughter, come before me. God is our head, and then it's them, then it's me. My God-given mandate is to protect, love, and provide for my family. So that means, getting up, going to work, jumping on these planes to make sure my family has what they need, not sacrificing the time that I spend with them in pursuit of, material things. But God has called us to be the head and not the tail, the lender and not the borrower. So it's
Come on.
really understanding my God given position in his kingdom, but also in our household. And that's making sure that they're protected. I am their protector. I pray over my daughter. We pray over our daughter every morning before she leaves. When we get on planes, we pray.
Yes.
But taking care of my mother-in-law, and we the team aspect, we joke about it, but we really embrace that. Even, my son who's in California, we're still a team.
He's still on.
We're still a unit. And
Mhm.
my job is to make sure the unit has what they need spiritually, physically, mentally. And yeah, that's what gets me up in the morning to make sure that I can serve them in a manner that pleases God. Because God has entrusted them to me.
Come on. You better cherish your family. Like, and you're living it, you're modeling it, and you offer that perspective that is like really God centric, Christ centric, and not like patriarchal.
Yep.
Right. And I love that so much. And you are really giving a clear definition on like what it really does mean to like lead and
Mhm.
what that is. And I hope, fellas, that y'all were listening and run that back, right? And even what you're describing, I think there's, the good example like Ruth and Boaz. What I love about Boaz is that he was providing for her before he even knew her name. He was
Yep.
already exhibiting the generosity. He cared about her reputation and virtue and wanted to preserve that. And he took the proper steps. And even when there was a moment where he could have took advantage and nobody knew, he still did the right
Right
thing,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so, like, I love that. And I think a lot of people get swept up in just like, oh, what he didn't know. We need to look at this man's character. And
Mhm,
that's what I'm
mhm.
hearing from you, bro, is character.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
big part.
Huge, huge. And it's one of those things I don't think people appreciate it the way that they should. And I, yeah, I appreciate you a whole lot more. Like learning, like I see this, like how you move, and it's apparent, but just hearing it behind, but what's holding it up, like what you
Yeah.
see, because there are some people it is a facade, but it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I can say that as well about him. Like who he is, who you see on Wednesday, Sunday at the restaurant, at the grocery store. That's who he is at home. Like I would be the
yeah,
first to point out, particularly to him directly, like, why you acting like that? Why are you doing like if there were really two different personas? But that character is genuine and it comes from having a mother's prayer of humility
yeah.
that has brought him to where he is today. So I absolutely see that.
Yep. It's
That is
really
wonderful.
you said you said it earlier that love is an action word. It is. And if we really look at, Christ and his love, in the Bible, there are
Yeah,
multiple words for love, but the self-sacrifice and agape love, that was an
yeah,
action. That was action based. Agape love is action based. And, we can say it, but the actions reinforce it. Or am I showing her I love her? Or I'm just saying it.
Right.
It's two different things.
yeah,
For sure.
You
yeah.
know, so one is surface, one is, deep. And,
Hmm.
they gonna eat before I eat. I'm gonna make sure that they got everything that they need. If I have to go dig a ditch, if I have to go like Brother Cool, I have to go drive a school bus, I'm gonna make sure my family is
Fry some
taken care
chicken.
of. Yeah, there you go. Fry some chicken,
Go Uber.
clean a toilet, mop a floor. I'm gonna make sure my family has what they need.
Yes. We need more men to like grow into that mindset and
And it's
really,
growth.
really understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It
It's
is growth.
growth and it's modeling. So it's a we need more mentors that are modeling that, but we also need more men that want to be mentored.
Mhm.
Come
So
on. That
that's
also
an action too. That's
requires
a choice.
humility.
Yep,
Mhm. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good prayer, mother. Yeah. That's a good prayer. That like it's simple, but like really, really and truly. Right. So I think in that, like building on that, what are some practices or mindsets that you think really lended to you all's like the richness over these 20 years, we'll say. Not just 15. It's 15 years of
Mhm.
marriage, but 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What lends to that? Like, how do we do it?
Yeah, like what are some of those practices and mindsets that have really sustained y'all over these 2 decades?
One of the things that comes to mind is, I would say, consistency and routine.
Okay.
That is his strength, not mine. Figure it out. Won't. But
No
when you have
way.
oh yeah, like
I see you with a planner and the pens and the different
because it's
colors.
cute and it's fun and stickers. Yes, and I love that. And I'm
Okay.
organized, but it's the consistency and the
Okay.
routine. And what I've learned
Okay.
over the years from him and from others and just, listening and growing and reading, your success is in your routine. I
Okay.
can't have a family unit and be all over the place.
Correct.
I know I
Correct.
got to be in the school parking lot at 2:30 every day. Can't dilly-dally with that. I know he's going to get up every morning and have his prayer time. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be down here working out while he doing it because I want to work out on Monday and then maybe I'll work out on Tuesday and or maybe I'll come back next Monday, right? It's that level of consistency in a routine with a family and a household that helps us succeed as a married couple, as a family unit. And I learned that from him. I've gotten much, much better with that because of him, because he is the king of
Yeah.
routine and structure and organization. And that was an adjustment for me in certain things, right? I'm gonna get up and go to work every day. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna hit the project goals. I'm gonna do all that. Like, yeah, that's a given. But in other areas, it was more loosey goosey. And when you
Yeah.
married, when you're accountable to somebody, you can't be loosey goosey. Or you're gonna have right. I could have chosen not to stay loosey goosey. I could have chosen, oh, that's just how I am. That's just the way I was raised. That's just how my mama did it. That's just how I do. I could have stayed in that mindset. Guess what? We
Yes.
might not be sitting here right now if I did. And that would have
Yes.
been on me.
I love that you both chose to rise at the different times in
Yeah.
your marriage and relationship where like it was appropriate.
Yeah,
And
for
you
sure.
Yeah.
died a dying to self. Yeah.
You have to die to self.
Daily.
Mhm.
Daily. It's a
Mhm. Mhm.
daily thing where you're like, okay, I don't want to do that. But even Brother McClure talks about, it's not about how you feel. You
Mm.
can't just operate and do things based on how you feel in that moment. Because how you feel one day about God could be different the next. And he doesn't like that lukewarm inconsistency. The Bible tells us
Right.
that. And so if I'm not going to be loosey goosey and lukewarm with the Lord, I owe it to my family to have that level of consistency and, dedication and organization as well. And again, I had to
Yeah.
grow into that. That's not something I came to this marriage with. I got it all organized and together and I know how to do this. No, I had to grow into that. And you have to be
Right.
humble enough and
Yep.
open enough to, have that level of growth. So that's, I would say, is one of the things that makes us work and kind of that secret sauce and keeps us together is that, having that structure and that routine and being accountable to that.
Love
That's a
that.
good answer.
Thank you.
I thought
It
so.
was. You
Um,
got a good wife.
I do. I do. I found a
Still
good
going.
one.
Yes.
I think it's y'all gonna say this is a Bible study, but once
It's
you
all right.
really understand the responsibility as a man that
Mhm.
God has given you in marriage to the
Mm.
point where he basically, says, love your wife as Christ loved the church and sacrificed himself for her.
Come on.
Once you understand that type of responsibility and sacrifice, your actions should be different. You should move
Yeah.
different. Once you really understand that you are the priest of your household, that you cover your household from a spiritual perspective. So it shouldn't be her job to cover us spiritually. Now, my wife, she's a praying wife. Don't get me wrong,
What you
but
call her? A Bible thumper?
Bible thumper. So Bible thumper.
My mama called me that too.
But to me, when you know better, you do better, right? So I mean, even
Correct.
as an example, we sitting here right now, and I'm not promoting that anybody go buy books, but I have 3 prayer books sitting on my desk.
Yeah.
The Power of Praying Parent, Power of Praying Husband. So
Come on.
prayer
You
is
better pray
what
for your
really
wife and your
keeps
child.
every single day. Prayer is, I'm anchored in prayer. That's how I have to
Yeah.
start my day, is having that personal time with the Lord that anchors me for the rest of the day, because you just don't know. I mean, the world we live in today is wild. So
Yes.
and you know, we don't know what's gonna happen, but I take it to the Lord and I leave it there. But for me to
Yeah.
have confidence that my prayers make it out the roof, I gotta have a relationship. You
Come
know, we
on.
can't do no iffy prayers. No, well, woulda, maybe, Lord, if you listening, can't do that. So I have to make sure I'm in position, in alignment with God. So as long as, if we got this vertical relationship going right, then the horizontal has to be all right.
Which makes a cross.
Come on, Doc.
He's always in it. He's
Yeah,
always in it.
he
Like God
is.
has left so many clues to just show that he's
Mhm.
always with us. And I love
Mhm.
that. Yeah. Yeah. No, even though you all generally have had it easy, it seems like internally, right? But how have you protected your marriage during stressful seasons, right? Like there's a lot of things that can happen externally and come into the
Mhm,
home. How have you been able to just purify and protect the atmosphere of the
mhm.
home?
Trying to think of a time.
Um,
Stressful. I think sometimes the career stuff
Okay.
can be stressful. The unknowing, the uncertainty that, especially for him as a man and being the provider, like that can weigh heavily on him. So I think in times like that, we've gotten a lot better. I think when we were
Hmm.
younger, it was much more panicky. You know,
Okay.
I've been laid off.
yeah, well,
Like,
April.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
got laid off when I was 6 months pregnant. Yeah, stress. And I
Wow.
think, yeah. So I think like as I think through those things, I think when we were younger, we were more panicky. Like we were in the church, but it's still that uncertainty, that unknown. We got bills to pay. Won't, won't, won't. Whereas like now, we're like, it's gonna be all right. We can't
Yeah.
control it. God got it. So it's like just our spiritual growth over the last 20 years has us in a much better place to deal with the external stressors of the world. Like everything going
Yeah.
on right now, like it is absolutely banana sandwiches in the world in January 2026.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's in our home. We don't bring
Yeah.
that stress into our home. We watch the news, we pay attention, it's not head in the sand obliviousness. But, I think we've grown so much together spiritually that we know who's ultimately in control. And
Yeah.
so even in our younger days when we had those stressors, we never let it come between Team Jackson. We knew we were
Okay.
always a team. We knew we were always in it together. Like if somebody was losing a job, yep, somebody gonna be Ubering or cleaning the bathroom or being a secretary or something. Like we always knew that whatever stressors came up, we would be together. We would have each other's back. And so just that spiritual growth has really helped us to get through that, whatever it may be.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
sounds like I hear the partnership in there, and that's so
Yeah.
important. And I know one of y'all know that scripture, two can't walk together unless they agree. Like how it go?
Unless they
Lest they
agree.
be
That's
Unless
it.
they
agreed. Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
You're trying to think
Mhm.
of like the King James version.
I know, but that's
It's
how
the
you know
Queen's
that's what
English.
I grew up on. If it ain't
Oh,
King
okay.
James, it be feeling
Interesting.
weird. I was like, am I
Okay.
missing a word?
Yeah.
Yeah. King James will have you feeling like that.
But I got a plaque on my desk
Mm,
right now that's been here, but it really boils down to this: trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not depend on your own
understanding.
understanding, but seek his
Yeah,
will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And as a
yeah.
part of our spiritual growth and maturity of us being one and yoked together,
Come on, yoke.
God has never failed us.
Yeah.
He has never left us. He has never forsaken us. We have a catalog of past
Oh,
victories
yes.
to
Oh,
call
yeah.
upon. So when the next challenge comes, we was like, well, if he did it, sounded like Trinity right now.
Did it
If he
before.
did it before,
He
he
can
can do
do
it
it
again.
again if he
Because
did
he was
it
the same
before.
God. It's the same
God.
God. So it's no reason to be, no, the Bible says be anxious for nothing, but in all things by prayer and
Yes.
supplication, make your
Show your
requests known to
requests.
God. And his peace, which
Beyond
surpasses
understanding.
all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Once you, no, Christianity is an experiential thing. You have to experience
Here's
it.
it. Yeah.
So, and the
Try
more you
me and see.
experience it, the more anchored in it you should
Become,
be,
yeah.
because God is a good God. He said,
Mm.
try me, test me. I mean,
He said, I'm standing on business. Like, that's it, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Standing on business. Y'all better understand. But
Yeah.
again, like you said, it's experiential. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, just to kind of close out with that question, like, I don't want people to walk away and say, oh, they don't have no problems. They good because they believe in God. It's not that. We absolutely have our problems. We've absolutely had our struggles. We've had housing challenges, car challenges, children challenges, like the things everybody goes through. But I think what he's saying is just like having that relationship with God is the ultimate answer to getting through it. And it takes time, right? Didn't talk like this 20 years ago. We
Nope.
didn't quote scripture like this 20 years ago. And so it's that growth that you got to have, and to, be able to do it together, I think is what makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the togetherness, and never letting that division come in between what God has put together. It's a journey of growth as one. And in the early days, yeah, that's different, because when you're used to kind of doing you and she's kind of used to doing her, now what does that two becoming one really look like?
Yeah.
But as long as you are going into it, I say with an open heart, open mind, and being adaptable. She's never
Mm.
told me to do anything crazy. I've never told her to go do like anything crazy. And it's having that safe space to have dialogue. You said this was gonna come up.
I told you.
So
I told you it was gonna come up.
so once a month, we do what we call a life dinner. And
Okay.
we anchor that in a couple of questions, but essentially is based off of, we both go over what our accomplishments were for that month.
Yep.
What we could have done better,
Mhm.
and then what we're planning to do in the next month.
Mm.
And it's really just a conversation starter, so we can really have that, like, how's our family doing? It's like a health check
Yeah.
on our marriage and our families.
And I cry every single time. Every time I cry. Like
There's
clockwork.
different
I
types of
always get
tears,
tissue.
though.
Yeah, I always have tissue because I always cry when I tell my part.
And
I
it really
love
is a
this.
reflection on what,
Where we are.
where we are, what, she got some new contracts. So if I got a promotion, how we've been blessed this month, and, what were some opportunities for improvement? What were some things that we wish we had handled better, did better?
And my favorite question is, what did you learn about me? So what did I learn about him over the last month? And there's always something new. And what he learned about me. And there's always something. Oh, I didn't know that you could do this or say that, or I didn't know you were into whatever. Like, I'm still finding out about movies and stuff. He just found out I've never seen, what was it?
Dirty Dancing.
I've never watched Dirty Dancing.
She's never seen Dirty Dancing. I'm just like, really?
Ever?
We are still with I get the gist
Nobody
of it.
backs
Baby in the
baby into a
corner.
corner.
Yes.
That's right. Nobody.
Yes, I get the gist. I get it. But again, still learning stuff about each other 20 years in.
So what I heard in all of that, because like I told y'all, I see a movie, right? So I'm seeing y'all at the table, you with your tissues dabbing, It's a perfect recipe for falling in love with God over and over again, expressing your gratitude and just seeing the presence in his life, but also falling in love with each other over and over again. Y'all are not withholding the observations that you're seeing. And it also, I think, invites the opportunity for you all to just really continue to get to know each other as each of you evolve
Yeah,
and
exactly.
appreciate it and label it. And like, that's so intimate. I love it.
Yeah, that's why I cry every time because
Yes.
that's exactly what
I
it is.
love
For
this.
sure.
I'm taking mental notes.
Yeah, we put it
Listen,
on the
when
calendar. It's the end of the month.
That's right. It's on the
Listen,
calendar. It's
yeah.
it's intentional.
Yeah.
And
and
that's
it's
the
real.
underlying.
Yep.
Yep. You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Let me tell y'all something. When God allows my husband to reveal himself, I'm gonna send him over to you, Terrence. Okay. But
Come
maybe
on
he
talk
won't
to us.
need it.
Gotta have
Maybe he won't
conversation
need
with you.
it, or we could just really hang out, Team
Yeah, it's gonna
Jackson
be my
and
homie.
Team
Exactly.
TBD, right?
Exactly.
We're gonna just call it Team TBD right now.
Right.
CBT. Love it.
So, what have you all learned about repair and accountability?
I'm gonna go on that one first. That my wife will hold me accountable.
Well, we know she showed you from the
She
beginning.
she will hold me accountable.
He's gotten much better at owning up to it when I
Okay.
do.
Yep, and being willing to accept feedback
Mm-hmm.
is a part of
Okay.
being accountable. Early on, that's a challenge. That's a challenge.
It was new.
For my brothers, it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge because we like to think we do everything right, and I'm the provider. I got this, I got that, but sometimes there are some areas for improvements, and um, it's not done in a slightful way or a malicious way.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just sometimes as men, we're not groomed to take that type of feedback.
Correct.
So that's a
Okay.
process of learning and growth in itself. So now I'm at the point where sometimes, I'll be like, I don't really want your feedback, but then I'll circle back
Do it.
2 minutes later and be like, but what do you think?
It don't be 2 minutes. It'd be more like an hour. It don't be 2
I'll be like, so what did
But
you
he
think? What did you
circles
think
back.
about this?
minutes.
What do
Yeah.
you think about this? Good.
And-
Because I know she has my best interest at
Absolutely.
heart. She's never going to have me out here looking crazy.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
Because then you got Team Jackson looking crazy.
True. Yeah. So
And I
hear
would
that
say to
trust.
that,
Yeah.
for me, the reason I think I'm in a position to give him that feedback is a couple things, but the first that came to mind was that I have a background in human resources. And
Mhm.
so I already came to the table from a space where I have to talk to people and help people do better
Yeah.
and coach people. And guess what I am today? I'm an
A
executive
coach.
coach. Exactly. So my whole, I think one of my gifts is talking to people and coaching them and helping them to be better. And
Yeah.
so it really is like my career has served a purpose and is beneficial to our marriage. Now, am I great at taking feedback? Probably not all the time. So, what is it? Doctor, heal thyself. I got my issues too. I don't always take my own advice. But again, that's part of the growth process, for everybody. But it has been a blessing. And I do acknowledge like how he has grown in that sense and how he can take that feedback. And even though he might invite me for 2 minutes, he's going to come back and be like, okay, what do you think? This was right or whatever. And even sometimes if it's overnight, right? We had this conversation a couple of months ago where we were saying like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with the old adage, like never go to bed mad. Sometimes you got to go to bed mad and sleep on it and have some clarity in the morning. And that doesn't happen
Yeah.
often for us, but sometimes really a good night's sleep does sometimes make things better. So
Yeah.
having those conversations when you're rested, when you're calm, when you maybe had a little cup of coffee and some water, is I think a key a way to help things be better too. We talk about holding people accountable and things like that. You
Mhm.
can't always
Mhm.
force somebody into accountability in the moment because sometimes that'll
Mm-mm.
work against you.
And sometimes you gotta let God do that work. Not sometimes.
Oh,
You gotta let God
absolutely.
do that work. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, how have you all been able to manage successful and demanding careers without competing?
I'm gonna let you start with that one.
Without competing, that's a good question. And the best answer I have for that is
I'll say seasons.
it's seasons, but again, going back to me putting my family in the best position to win. What has it been? What, 4 or 5 years now? 4. You've been on your left.
About 4 years.
So about 5 years ago, we started staging a plan for her to exit corporate America.
Oh, it was actually longer than that.
So-
It was back in like Ava was born in what, 2013? It's like in 2016. We had that conversation.
So some years ago, we started having the conversation on her exiting, corporate America. In my mind, I was like, oh, we're gonna retire you from corporate America.
Yeah.
So,
I like it, but that's a wife.
so
That's a Proverbs 31 woman. She got things to do.
Exactly.
right. I didn't see that as competing. I saw that as how can I help her get to the career job space that she wanted to be.
Yeah.
The commuting every day, spending all the time in traffic, the workplace was not the
This was
greatest.
long before COVID.
The workplace wasn't the greatest. And again, I took it upon myself to be like, all right, so what do I need to do to help our family put her in the position that she can basically flourish? Because I saw
Yeah.
this inner coach coming out because she was already doing it. But I knew she wanted to do that full time and she wanted
Okay.
to basically be on her own. So I don't say stress, but I put a plan together because I'm a planner. On
I was just gonna figure it out.
how we were going to get to be able to achieve that. And obviously, God was in the center of that plan.
Hmm.
So, I don't know if it's competing careers or it's complementary. She empowers me to do my best work. I empower her to do her best work,
Yeah.
and it just works out. I'm her best client. I always say I'm her star pupil from a
Yes.
coaching perspective, but it just works out. She's in a much better space now that she gets to set her own schedule. She gets to be the wife, the mom, the entrepreneur, the dog mom, all those things
Yes.
on her own schedule.
Yeah.
And, to me, that brings me joy. So it wasn't really a
Yeah.
competition. And, I'll let her speak to this, but I kind of think her mindset on that whole corporate ladder climbing kind of changed from years ago. And she just realized that wasn't really it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Yeah.
so to that, how I would answer the question going all the way back, remember when we met, corporate career girl on the career ladder, trying to get up there and be director and senior and all of that stuff, right? To see that evolution change of where I wanted my career to go,
Hmm.
it never felt like a competition of our careers or whose career was more important because when I was big time corporate in a Starbucks, he was coming out of a government job, right? And so now that's kind of reversed. I literally have coached him into, the space that he is in now with his career. And I look at it as, helping him. And
Yeah.
so it was never a competing of whose job is more important or who can take this trip. It was never that. It was seasons. It was
Mm.
seasons of our career. My career was doing great at this moment in time. His career is doing great at this moment in time. And I'm super, super blessed, incredibly blessed, so fortunate, so grateful that to his point, I can set my own schedule and I can do the work I love and I can take care of my family and I can go pick my baby girl up from school every day. And I can sit on the couch with the dog for half an hour if I need to relax, right? And, it's kind of the dream, right? And I'm still
Hmm.
working. I still have a career, but I'm just doing it in a way that's better for me, for my family, and definitely for my marriage. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So the career thing between us, it was never a competition. It was more
Yeah.
just we're in these different seasons and let's just try to weather these seasons as best we can.
Love that. Love that. Y'all, this has been so good. Like, really and truly, like, this is one of those episodes I myself can go back and just listen to and pull out different nuggets. And, like, you have things for people in various seasons.
Yeah.
So, I got a couple, I'll call them like rapid fire questions before we close with the signature. Okay.
Okay.
First one, what advice would you give to your younger self?
choose your friends wisely.
My younger self, I would say, live your life and God is going to take care of everything else. Don't set arbitrary goals because you'll be disappointed when you don't meet them.
Listen, we make plans and God laughs.
Yeah. And God laughs. Exactly.
So, what would you say to couples who feel stuck but are committed?
If you're stuck, you have to move. Stuckness means it's not permanent, which means you got to take some action to actually get unstuck. And if you're committed, you should be able to do that together.
Look, you see
That.
me, I was like, that was solid. That was solid. And then finally, like, what's one piece of marriage advice that you wish someone gave you?
That I wish someone gave me.
That's a good one.
I would say I wish someone had given me the advice of how game changing children are. Like, it is just on a surface level, but until you're actually a parent and got a human being you're responsible for, it's definitely a game changer. It's different in ways you just can't imagine. It's great. It's a blessing. It's loving. It's wonderful, but it's just really different. Having a
Mm.
whole nother person that's as tall as me that I'm responsible
She
for.
about
So
to
I
be
wish
taller
I
than
would have.
you in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I
Really.
guess if I wish someone had given me some marriage advice, it would have been about being married with a family with a child and the challenges that come with that.
Yeah. No, I was very serious though about her almost getting taller. I
Oh,
looked at
yeah, for
her
sure.
whenever the last Wednesday was we were in person. I was like,
Yeah.
did she get
Yeah, I'll be
taller?
the short one. Yeah, I'll be the short one in the family in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So what
yeah.
you got for us?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that one. I got great advice. I'm gonna flip that one back. The
Okay.
advice that I got that I wish I hadn't.
Okay.
Okay.
So again, that goes back to making sure you choose your groups wisely. But it was that she's going to change. That the
Mhm.
person that you propose to and the person that you marry are going to be two different people,
Mhm.
and that was a lie. She's the same.
Well, that means you didn't do your
So
due diligence if
On that
this is
person,
this
yes.
so
could happen.
so that's the advice that I ignored
Good.
because but yeah. But we had good people around us, the counseling and things. So, but nah, but I did get some erroneous advice.
I'm so glad you didn't listen to that, right? Because I think that's a lot of times what stops people from going forward with what could be a good
Absolutely.
thing. And you have to really consider who it's coming from and what their
Yep,
perspective is.
Oh, yeah.
What does
absolutely.
their dating and relationship life look like? Their general outlook on life. Because if this is a half
Mhm.
empty person, there's no way. They want to, first of all, they're like, they was still thinking she was a barista, even though it's probably proven otherwise, because they didn't want to, believe it. Like, ain't no way. She just
Right.
walked up to you and tapped you on your shoulder. You know what I mean? Like the ease of it and how it just happened. I still just love that. That's just very like God magic, just like
Yeah,
how
for
he does
sure.
his
It
thing.
was.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay. So we're going to close with that signature question. If you could leave the audience with one powerful truth to help them rise and thrive, what would it
Mhm.
be?
I would say unequivocally, rise and thrive with God.
Mm,
He has the answer. Everything you need is in the Bible. It's all
come on.
there. And just
Come on.
establishing that relationship will be the best relationship that you'll have, and everything else will fall into place.
All right.
Can't add to that.
Okay. So
Rise and
rise and thrive
thrive.
with God. That's
Mhm.
it, y'all. Y'all
Rise and
heard it
Thrive with the
here.
yes,
Lord.
yes.
You can never go wrong. Now, sometimes you might not understand, but you
Right.
can talk
Right.
to him about that too. But rise and thrive with God and trust that He's got it. He's
Absolutely.
the same today, yesterday, and forever.
And tomorrow? Yes.
Amen.
And yep, yep. All right, audience. Well, this is where we shift to you. Well, I want you to take a moment to reflect on how you're defining lasting love. And I want you to ask what values matter most to me in long term partnership. Also, reflect on how do I currently handle conflict, repair, and
Yes.
communication? And in what ways am I preparing, not just hoping, for the kind of love that I desire? And then I want you to take action. So this week, choose one intentional action. If you're single, write a short list of the qualities that reflects character, faith, and emotional maturity, not just attraction, in the partner that you desire. If you're partnered, I want you to initiate one honest conversation that you've been avoiding or schedule some intentional time to reconnect without distractions. And if you're married, ask your partner, what is one way that I can support you better in this season? And listen without defending. See, the Team Jackson co-signed it. It's good. It's legit.
Yes.
So just know that small, consistent action really does build strong foundations. And finally, I'm going to leave you with an affirmation. I am worthy of a partnership that is healthy, intentional, and enduring. Thank you once again, Team Jackson, for being here. This was
Thank
so
you.
good and
Thank
so
you.
juicy. We're going to have to split this into 2 parts. Okay. So you're going to have a
Okay.
Tuesday and a Thursday drop with this
Okay.
episode. So this month of love, y'all are getting it. It's been so rich in the outpouring of love. And if you haven't already sent in your relationship questions, please send those. I'm happy to answer those each episode of Rise and Thrive with Dr. J. Nicole, whether it's in friendship, it's with your parents, it's in your relationship, your romantic relationships. Send it in. Everyone deserves to have healthy relationships, to be in community, to love and be loved the way that they deserve and desire. So please send those in. And if I can share or the guest share anything to help you move closer to that, we want to do that. It's been an absolute pleasure to have Team Jackson
Thank
here.
you.
Make
Thank you.
sure if this blessed you or you know somebody that can be blessed by this, make sure you share it. We want you to like, follow, subscribe, wherever you are, whatever platform, do the things and engage with us. And let me know future topics you want to hear about. What were some key takeaways, like your favorite gems dropped from Team Jackson in today's episode? And don't forget to shop the merch. You can find that on Evolve at drjnicole.com. We're going to send you out of here. Remember to keep rising in faith and thriving in purpose. And I'll see you next week. All right, y'all.